Welcome to the Deep Dive Lab. We're thrilled to have you with us today.
Yeah, so glad you could join us.
So, if you've spent, more than 5 minutes on the internet recently,
Or just walk down the aisle of a grocery store.
right, exactly, you've definitely encountered modern diet culture. I mean, it is a wild, unpredictable world out there right now.
It really is.
People are stirring massive blocks of butter into their morning coffee. They're fasting for days on end.
And treating avocados with the kind of absolute reverence usually reserved for like Meryl Streep or Denzel Washington.
Yes. It's like we are all basically searching for that real-life Konami code, right?
Oh, the up, up, down, down cheat code.
Exactly. That magical hidden button combination to just instantly level up our health, drop a few pounds, and feel like we belong in the next Marvel superhero ensemble.
Which brings us right to the center of today's focus, the ketogenic diet.
Keto.
Keto. It has undeniably become a modern megatrend. But the fascinating reality is that the ketogenic diet is actually a very old medical treatment. It's just been entirely rebranded and repackaged for the wellness generation.
Totally. So today, we're going through a massive stack of sources, peer-reviewed journals, clinical meta-analyses, historical data, to really decode this diet for you.
Right. Our mission is to strip away the social media filters and look directly at the biological facts. We're going to explore the efficacy, the biochemical changes, and the unseen long-term risks.
Because we want to tease out the tension here. Is keto a miraculous metabolic reset button that modern medicine has just ignored for too long?
Or is it a misunderstood dietary extreme with hidden costs that nobody is talking about on their fitness blogs?
Exactly. And since you probably already know the basic premise, severely cutting carbohydrates to force the body to burn fat, we aren't going to waste time defining what a carb is.
No, we want to know what is actually happening under the hood.
Right. When someone starves their body of glucose, what is the physiological reality of that metabolic switch?
Well, the shift is far more profound than just burning a little extra belly fat. According to research outlined in Stat Pearls by Nader Rahimi from Boston University Medical Campus, when your carbohydrate intake drops to near zero,
Like almost nothing.
right, your adipose tissue, your body fat, begins releasing stored triglycerides into the bloodstream.
Okay.
And these travel directly to the liver, where they undergo this heavy-duty process called beta oxidation.
Beta oxidation.
Yeah, this generates acetyl-CoA, which is then converted into ketone bodies, specifically acetoacetate and beta-hydroxybutyrate.
Wow.
You are fundamentally changing the primary fuel source of your entire biological engine.
It's like switching your car from running on its primary gas tank to this secondary high-octane reserve tank.
Exactly.
And beta-hydroxybutyrate. That sounds like something you need a hazmat suit to handle.
Yeah, it does sound intimidating.
But it's actually the star player of this whole process.
Wow.
And this metabolic engine swap, it wasn't invented by some modern Silicon Valley biohacker trying to optimize their productivity, right?
Not at all. It originated way back in the 1920s.
The 20s.
Yeah. Specifically, it was developed by Dr. Russell Wilder at the Mayo Clinic in 1921.
Oh, wow.
He created it as a treatment for drug-resistant epilepsy, particularly in children.
So they were basically using it to treat seizures.
Yes. Researchers at the time figured out that forcing the body to mimic a state of starvation by completely removing carbohydrates and pumping up the dietary fat somehow calmed the electrical storms in the brain that cause seizures.
That is wild.
It was a rigorous, highly monitored medical intervention, and it really remained a niche neurological treatment until new anti-seizure medications were developed later in the 20th century.
So we took a strict pediatric neurological intervention and turned it into a way to look good for a summer beach vacation.
Pretty much.
That alone should raise some eyebrows. But to be fair, the science behind ketosis has expanded dramatically since the 1920s.
It definitely has.
The clinical data on its benefits is actually incredibly robust, especially when we look at glycemic control.
Oh, the biochemical changes are genuinely remarkable. Let's look at a 2020 meta-analysis published in the journal Curious.
Okay.
This was by Hammam Al-Otaigi and researchers from King Khalid University. They specifically examined the effects of the ketogenic diet on diabetic patients.
And what did they find?
The data showed it is highly effective in reducing body weight, managing fasting blood sugar levels, and significantly improving HbA1c.
Which is your average blood sugar over a 3-month period.
Exactly.
I mean, giving people battling type 2 diabetes and obesity a tool to rapidly control their blood sugar potentially without immediately relying on escalating doses of medication. That is a massive victory.
It is a huge win, but the benefits go way deeper than just dropping pounds and managing insulin spikes. Let's go back to that ketone body I mentioned earlier.
Beta-hydroxybutyrate, or BHB.
Right. I was reading through the stack of research, and it turns out BHB isn't just a passive fuel source. It is actively communicating with our cells.
This is where the biology gets incredibly sophisticated.
It really does. A 2019 review in the journal Nutrients by Raffaele Longo, Emma De Fabiani, and their team at the University of Milan completely reframed how we view BHB.
Right.
They found it acts as a signaling molecule. Specifically, BHB acts as a class 1 histone deacetylase inhibitor.
Okay, stop right there. We need to translate histone deacetylase inhibitor before we lose everyone.
Please do.
Think of your DNA like a massive, multi-volume encyclopedia.
Okay.
Every cell in your body has the entire set, but a heart cell only needs to read the heart volume, and a liver cell only reads the liver volume.
Makes sense.
The way your body keeps the unneeded volumes closed is by wrapping the DNA tightly around structural proteins called histones.
Right.
So if BHB inhibits the enzymes that keep those volumes tightly shut, it means this little molecule from burning fat can physically travel into the nucleus of your cells and change which parts of your DNA are being read.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it.
It's crazy.
And by altering the way your DNA is accessed, BHB has been shown to reduce systemic inflammation, lower oxidative stress, and even increase the efficiency of your mitochondria.
Wow.
It is effectively reprogramming your cellular metabolism at an epigenetic level to be more resilient.
It is like finding out the premium gasoline you put in your car doesn't just make the engine run, but it actually rewrites the onboard computer software to make the whole vehicle indestructible while you drive down the highway.
That level of biological influence is staggering, and it makes total sense why researchers are looking beyond epilepsy now.
They're looking into other brain issues, right?
Yes. They are actively investigating its potential in neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Because the brain energy changes.
Right. Some aging or diseased brains begin to lose the ability to efficiently process glucose. So by shifting the brain away from glucose and feeding it ketones, you bypass those broken metabolic pathways entirely.
That's fascinating.
There is new research from 2026 published in Cell Reports by Marian Stunat, Vitaly Kliachko, and Ghazala Ashrafi at Washington University that takes this even further.
Oh, I saw that paper. They were looking at the hippocampus, which is the brain's primary memory center.
Yes, they found that the ketogenic diet drives extensive transcriptional reprogramming in the hippocampus.
Okay.
It physically alters short-term synaptic plasticity by shrinking synaptic vesicle pools. This effectively dampens overactive excitatory neurotransmission.
Let's break down those synaptic vesicle pools. When brain cells communicate, they release chemical messengers from these little storage bubbles, the vesicles.
Right.
If a diseased or epileptic brain is like a chaotic, loud rock concert where the amplifiers are turned up way too high.
Shrinking those vesicle pools is like the sound engineer slightly pulling down the master volume slider.
Exactly. The music is still playing, the cells are still talking, but the chaotic, damaging noise is filtered out.
A very apt comparison. The neuroprotective potential is vast because you are fundamentally altering the energy flux in the brain. You are changing the physical architecture of how neurons communicate.
But rewriting your brain's energy pathways and forcing your liver into overdrive isn't a free lunch.
No, it's not.
When you bypass your body's preferred fuel source for that long, the biological system starts to push back. Let's flip the coin and talk about the unseen physiological costs.
Yeah.
The immediate hurdle everyone talks about is the infamous keto flu.
Right. When you first cut off the supply of carbohydrates, the body does not smoothly transition to burning fat.
It's a bumpy ride.
Very. A 2025 scoping review in Frontiers in Nutrition by Callum Rice-Smith and Simon Nitterdinkel at the University of Bergen looked at this initiation phase.
Yep.
Patients experience nausea, severe fatigue, headaches, and intense cravings. The body clumsily struggles to switch fuel sources, shedding water and essential electrolytes at an alarming rate. It is an acute physiological withdrawal from glucose.
It sounds like the body is throwing a massive tantrum, like a toddler whose iPad just ran out of battery.
That's exactly what it is.
But the keto flu usually passes in a few weeks once the metabolic machinery adapts. What I am more curious about are the long-term, systemic effects. If someone stays on this diet for years, what happens to their heart health?
That is a subject of intense debate, and the data paints a very complicated picture.
Okay, lay it on us.
A comprehensive 2024 meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition by Zixuan Wang, Suezi Dong, and colleagues from Harvard and Tianjin University analyzed cardiovascular risk factors.
And what did they find?
They found that the ketogenic diet reliably reduces triglycerides and often increases HDL, which is traditionally known as the good cholesterol.
Those both sound like massive wins for cardiovascular health. So where is the problem?
The problem is that simultaneously, the diet can significantly increase LDL, the bad cholesterol.
Ah, the classic cholesterol paradox. You are dropping 50 pounds, your blood sugar is perfectly stable, which should make your cardiologist thrilled.
Right.
But your LDL levels are shooting through the roof, which is a massive red flag for heart disease down the road. It's a biological plot twist.
It really is. And the heart isn't the only organ taking on collateral damage. Processing massive amounts of fat and protein takes a toll on the body's filtration system.
The kidneys.
The kidneys bear a significant burden. A 2021 systematic review and meta-analysis published in the journal Diseases by Prakriti Acharya from Texas Tech Health Sciences Center analyzed 36 studies encompassing nearly 2,800 patients.
That's a huge sample size.
It is. They reported a pooled incidence of kidney stones of 5.6% in patients treated with a ketogenic diet over a 4-year period.
Wait, 5.6%. To put that into perspective for everyone listening, the incidence of developing a kidney stone in the general population is usually around less than 0.5% per year.
Yes.
You are massively multiplying your risk of experiencing one of the most painful acute medical conditions imaginable.
Furthermore, they found this risk affects children and adults equally. It completely contradicts the prior medical assumption that only pediatric epilepsy patients who are on incredibly rigid hospital-managed versions of the diet were at risk.
But the average adult doing this at home faces the exact same danger.
Exactly.
That alone should make anyone pause before they permanently banish fruit from their kitchen. But all of this leads up to the absolute wow fact we uncovered in this deep dive.
Yes, this is fresh research. A 2025 study published in the journal Science Advances by researchers Molly Gallup and M. Mindine Shea at the University of Utah Health. They decided to look at the truly long-term metabolic risks of keto.
What did they do?
They conducted a robust 9-month study on mice. To understand the scale of that, 9 months is a very significant portion of a mouse's lifespan.
So it's like a human doing it for decades.
Basically, they separated the subjects into 3 groups: a standard Western high-fat diet, a low-fat diet, and a strict ketogenic diet. As anticipated, the ketogenic diet successfully prevented weight gain. The mice on keto maintained significantly lower body weights compared to those on the standard Western diet.
So the diet worked exactly as advertised on the packaging. They stayed thin.
They did.
But the twist is what happened deep inside their tissues. Because the diet relies almost entirely on dietary fat, those lipid molecules have to be processed somewhere. What did the researchers find when they looked at the internal organs?
They discovered severe metabolic complications. In the male mice, that massive influx of fat accumulated directly in the liver, leading to severe fatty liver disease.
Wait, so despite looking perfectly healthy and lean on the outside, their livers were failing on the inside?
Yes. But interestingly, the female mice did not develop this liver issue.
I love when a study throws a biological curveball like that.
Yeah.
The male mice develop a failing liver, but the females somehow process the fat differently.
It's fascinating.
It opens up an entirely new frontier regarding sex differences in how humans might respond to dietary extremes. But the failing liver wasn't even the craziest part of the Utah study. Tell us about the blood sugar paradox.
Right. So after months on keto, the mice naturally had very low, stable blood sugar levels.
Thanks to eating sugar.
Exactly. However, when the researchers reintroduced even a small amount of carbohydrates back into their diet, the mice had completely lost the ability to regulate their blood glucose.
Whoa.
Their sugar levels skyrocketed and stayed dangerously high.
How does a diet famous for fixing blood sugar completely destroy the body's ability to handle sugar?
The cellular mechanism they discovered is alarming. The researchers found that the beta cells in the pancreas, the cells responsible for secreting insulin, were exhibiting severe signs of cellular stress.
Why?
The chronically high levels of fat in their environment triggered what is known as endoplasmic reticulum stress. The pancreas cells literally became unable to fold and move proteins correctly.
And insulin is a protein.
Yes. Because insulin is a protein, the pancreas simply stopped secreting enough of it to handle the sudden reintroduction of carbohydrates.
It is like training for a marathon by only swimming in a pool for a year.
That's a great way to look at it.
Your cardiovascular system might be incredibly strong, but the second you step onto the pavement and try to run, your leg muscles have completely forgotten the mechanics of absorbing impact, and you immediately collapse. The pancreas literally forgot how to do its job because the cellular factory was flooded with too much crude oil.
Exactly the right concept. Now, the good news from the study is that this impaired glucose tolerance reversed once the mice were permanently taken off the ketogenic diet and the cellular stress subsided.
Well, that's a relief.
But it serves as a major red flag for humans using the diet intermittently or those who plan to eventually transition back to a normal diet.
And beyond the organ stress, we cannot ignore the foundational nutritional deficits of cutting out entire food groups. Christopher Gardner, a professor of medicine at Stanford University, led a study directly comparing keto to the Mediterranean diet.
The findings there were stark.
Yet keto falls significantly short in basic essential nutrition. By eliminating grains, legumes, and most fruits, it severely lacks dietary fiber, thiamine, phosphorus, and essential vitamins like B6, C, D, and E.
Which brings us to a vital point about how this information applies to everyday life for you listening. It is essential to reemphasize that the ketogenic diet was designed as a therapeutic medical intervention.
Right.
Imagine a highly relatable scenario. Someone wants to drop 20 pounds quickly before a high school reunion or a wedding. They jump on the keto trend they saw on social media. They're eating bacon, heavy cream, steaks, obsessively tracking their ketone strips.
And celebrating that initial rapid water weight loss.
Exactly.
But because they aren't under the care of a physician, they are flying completely blind. They have no idea their LDL cholesterol is quietly creeping into the danger zone. They don't feel the microscopic cellular stress building up in their pancreas or the fat accumulating in their liver.
No, they don't.
They are starving their gut microbiome of the diverse fiber it desperately needs to maintain their immune system. They're hyper-focused on the bathroom scale, totally ignoring the check engine lights flashing on their internal dashboard.
A concept that continuously emerges in modern nutritional research as a healthier alternative is metabolic flexibility.
Let's talk about that.
This is your body's innate ability to seamlessly switch between burning glucose and burning fats, depending entirely on what fuel is available and what activity you are performing.
So instead of rigidly forcing your biology to stay locked in a state of ketosis 365 days a year, metabolic flexibility means your cellular machinery is agile.
Yes.
You can utilize a bowl of complex carbohydrates before an intense gym workout just as efficiently as you can tap into your stored body fat during a long, slow hike on the weekend.
From an evolutionary standpoint, metabolic flexibility aligns perfectly with human biology. We evolved as opportunistic omnivores, uniquely adapted to survive in rapidly changing environments with unpredictable food sources.
Makes total sense.
The findings from Stanford, the University of Utah, and Harvard all point to a unified conclusion. Given the nuanced, multi-organ, and sometimes contradictory effects on the human body, medical supervision is paramount if you are considering a strict ketogenic diet.
Absolutely.
You must understand your baseline lipid panels, your kidney function, and your overall metabolic health before initiating such a drastic biochemical shift.
All right, we have covered a massive amount of scientific ground today here in the lab. Let's summarize the key takeaways so you have the ultimate cheat sheet.
Okay.
Number one, the keto diet is highly effective for very specific targeted conditions. If we are talking about pediatric epilepsy, short-term glycemic control for type 2 diabetes, or rapid obesity management under a doctor's care, the clinical science absolutely backs it up. It forces a massive metabolic shift that yields rapid, measurable results.
Number two, that exact same metabolic shift carries unseen long-term risks that compound over time. Maintaining a continuous state of ketosis can lead to a paradoxical increase in LDL cholesterol, a significantly higher risk of painful kidney stones, and, as vividly demonstrated in the University of Utah animal models, potentially severe issues like fatty liver and impaired glucose tolerance due to profound pancreatic stress.
And for our big picture takeaway, the ketogenic diet is a powerful, fascinating biological tool. It is not just a diet, it is a metabolic override that literally changes how your DNA is accessed and how your brain synapses fire.
But it is absolutely not a universal, casual hack for a healthy lifestyle that everyone should attempt on a whim.
No.
It requires individualized application, rigorous nutritional planning to avoid severe vitamin deficits, and careful monitoring by a healthcare provider.
Knowledge is only valuable when it is understood in context and applied correctly. Recognizing the vast difference between a targeted therapeutic medical intervention and a sustainable lifelong nutritional pattern is the true key to protecting your long-term health and longevity.
Well said.
Thank you so much for joining us in the Deep Dive Lab today. If you enjoyed exploring the cellular mechanics of this research with us, please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a deep dive. We love taking these complex scientific topics and mapping them out for you.
We really do.
Now, before we go, we want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over. We talked about how beta-hydroxybutyrate physically travels into the nucleus of your cells and alters which parts of your DNA are read.
Yeah.
If a simple shift in macronutrients can wield that much power over our gene expression, what does this mean for the future of personalized medicine? Are we approaching an era where doctors won't just prescribe pills, but will prescribe highly specific, genetically tailored macronutrient ratios designed to edit our cellular software in real time? Let that sink in. See you next time.